Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Comics Della Morte, episode 117, Mechaton Triumphs with Wells Thompson. And we have Dalton coming. I didn't know he was going to be this episode. I remember last time they were both here, and it looks like they're going to be here again if Dalton can get his stuff fixed,
If he
which
can get
I
his,
understand. Sometimes StreamYard is very complicated.
very true. Yeah. Thanks for having us
doing
on.
updates. Oh, no, not a problem. Really enjoyed the last time I had you guys on, and just the whole concept as well with the comic. So I'll let you start off because it has been a while. Let anybody who's going to be watching live or afterwards what the whole comic is about.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Wells Thompson. I am the co-writer of Mechaton, which is, if you look behind me at this rack, the first two rows are all the issues of Mechaton. There you go. It is a sci-fi action comedy about a glove that crash lands on Earth and turns anything it punches into a mech, as well as the idiots that find it and the kaiju shenanigans that they get into along the way. Mm-hmm. So, tons of fun. It's lighthearted. It has some good character moments, and it's one of my favorite things I've ever worked on.
Very cool. So yeah, I mean, you have done a lot. You know, you worked on Frankenstein
the Unconquered, which is that bottom row you can see there. So we've done a bunch of horror stuff. We did Descent into Dread. That was our first book from Caliber Comics. It's an anthology series. We have Frankenstein the Unconquered. I have one fantasy romance graphic novel that's in production right now that's been funded on Kickstarter, and another series that I'm booting up later this year. And then a bunch of stuff from shorts, but this has been kind of our baby and the one that we've put the most time and energy into for a while now.
Well, I'll wait a little bit to talk more about Mechaton for Dalton to come in and everything.
Sure.
But just to ask you a question for anybody who's out there that's curious, like as a writer, you know, you got this one going on, that one going on. Like, how do you really stay focused and remember each project you're working on? Because some creators, you know, they might have like 7 issues, but it's part of the same series. You're working on several series all at the same time. Like, how do you not like make sure that each series is great and very detailed and a reader's going to want to read, not making the other one, you know, not as storyable, if you know what I'm saying? Because you're saying that you're putting all your hard work into this one, but the other ones you are too.
I mean, you know, when you have 3 children, you pick one that you like best and you put all your love into it, and the others you neglect, and that's just how parenting works. No, of course, you put, you know, equal time into all of them. As a writer in comics, the creative part of my job is very rewarding, but it is also less time consuming than the artists, which is why we're able to work on several projects at once. You know, it takes real time to be able to kind of grind out, you know, a 20-page issue if you're drawing it panel by panel. But if all I have to write is panel 1, Derek punches the thing, you know, that does not take nearly as much time, which allows me to then spend a lot of time, you know, looking for or creating the page and pushing the book and working on other stuff. In terms of like keeping them all sort of separate and giving them their own unique identity, we're all, you know, all of them have sort of commonalities. Mechaton and Frankenstein. If you really squint your eyes, you can kind of see that there are similarities between them, but they're about wildly different things, and the subject matter is completely different on what they're dealing with, and the tones are wildly off. So keeping them distinct is pretty easy. It's just a different like mode that I'm going into of you know, I go into Mechaton thinking this is going to be a little bit more lighthearted. We're going to have some fun character moments, and there's going to be a lot of banter. And when you go into Frankenstein the Unconquered, it's more like how are we going to make this as metal as possible? So it's pretty. To me, it's not so much an issue of worrying about like letting one of them slack in quality. I don't really think that's an issue because we're putting a lot of effort into all of them and constantly going back and checking and editing and making sure that they're good at every stage. To me, it's just staying on top of it and making sure I'm not, overwhelming myself and doing too much and trying to keep too many plates spinning, so to speak, too many balls in the air. And last year that was a problem, but this year I think we found a good even keel to work with.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now I know with of course when you go to Comic Cons and stuff like that, as you're writing all these books, do you feel that Mechaton or Frankenstein or any of your other stuff you're working on is really like your top seller? Like, how do you like really go about? It's like, okay, I know people are going to really love this more, so I need to have these comics made more than this one.
I think Frankenstein, for the con crowd and for Kickstarter in general, is more eye-catching and more people buy it. Hey, Dalton.
Hey, I can hear you guys now.
Oh, great.
Hey.
We can hear you too.
Awesome.
And I have to readjust to keep center frame again. Huh? So yeah, Frankenstein tends to do better at the booth, and the sales are a little bit better on Kickstarter as well. Mechaton has the more passionate fans, I think.
Yeah.
Like the people who read Mechaton love Mechaton, and I get a decent amount of emails asking, "Hey, when's the next one coming out?" My son in middle school asks me every day when more Mechaton is coming out. How do I help you do that? Which is really cool. I love getting those messages. Please send more. But yeah, I think that Mechaton, just because it's not like the first thing that people grab, it doesn't make it any less special. It is still there's a reason that we led with Mechaton. That was our first big Kickstarter book. We think it's really special, and we want to share it with everyone.
Well, yeah, because I mean, even though Frankenstein, it has a lot of great storyline, the horror there is everything, but when you look on it, the cover and the artwork, it reminds me of like old school Cartoon Network animation.
Oh yeah,
back in the day.
That was on purpose for sure.
And also too, both of you guys could relate to this. Now you have like not just the new Godzilla and Kong movie coming out, but you have the TV show on Apple and everything. Like
really good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you guys,
it's a good time to be Dalton right now. Let me tell you. He is a big Godzilla fan.
If you're a kaiju fan, you've been eating good like all of 2022 and 23. It's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Hopefully we keep it rolling into 24.
Yeah, right. I'm excited for the new Kong and Godzilla movie. I like to see them teaming up, and you have it's actually kind of funny. Godzilla kind of has his own Mechaton glove in the trailer.
Oh yeah, somebody has a big glove in there. I still don't know what that's all about, but I'm excited to see.
There are certain things that are just cool. All right.
I am very excited for it.
Big gloves are cool. Big gloves punching things are cool.
Very cool.
Right? The only time you had a disappointment with a glove was the Nintendo Power Glove that hardly worked.
Hey, that was so bad it was good.
So bad.
Right?
We could save the world with the Nintendo Power Glove. Nintendo just stopped supporting it.
Right. But with you guys, with Mechaton, you guys are probably making better sales now, or people are trying to reach out to you more, like you were saying, just because this is a great time to have a comic like Mechaton, because all the kaiju stuff that's out there, kind of like
We
how artists will,
certainly hope that that will be the
yeah,
case.
like
I'm
it's
hoping that.
sad because some artists wants to jump on the bandwagon and make a bunch of art that's related to the nearest trend, but you guys been working on this for a while, and now you guys are probably coming into like more fans that didn't know about it before because you're on like what issue 5? You finished issue 5, and now you're going
Yeah.
into the
We're
next
doing
story arc.
our trade. So we're doing
Yeah.
we're doing our one book, issue 1 through 5, and then looking hopefully later this year to do issue number 6.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I mean, we just did a con earlier this year, and Mechaton was selling better than it had in a few cons, I will say.
Yeah.
Like I sold out of like the complete run. Some people when they bought one, they wanted to buy all of them, and it was really cool to see, especially
For
some
sure.
kids.
Like I said, people more casually will be like, "Yeah, I'll check out Frankenstein."
yeah.
And the people who are into Mechaton love Mechaton, which is great.
Well, yeah, I mean, because again, it relates back to like old Teen Titans, like Cartoon Network, and I can't remember the show. I think we talked about it before, how like there was a show on Cartoon
Megas
Network where
XLR.
Megas
with a robot
XLR
and a
Bin
pickup
10.
truck. Yes,
But,
yes.
like,
I knew
there's
I knew
a
you guys were
hundred
going to know
shows
it because
that
I
we've
think it was
heard
Dalton
over
that
the
brought it up.
years
Yeah.
Mhm.
that are of people
Yeah.
being like, "Oh, this reminds me of this from my childhood." We're like, "Oh
Yeah.
God, core memory unlocked."
Right, right. But that's what's so great, and I think is awesome, is that a comic like this can really reach out to different types of generations, not just one type, because
For sure.
let's be honest, horror comics are very niche and attached to a certain group, like people in their like 20s, or depending on what the genre of horror
Mhm.
is, it might be people to me who's like almost close to their 40s. I'm gonna like this type of genre of horror more than this one. So yeah,
Yeah,
most definitely.
Mechaton allows us to play around with genre sometimes. Like the latest issue we're working on has like boardroom meetings. Like but it's always still
Of
like,
all the weird things in the next issue, a boardroom meeting is the thing you grab. All right.
well, because it's very like not what you think of when you look at the cover of Mechaton. It's like we're going to have a meeting that could have been an email. This is great. Mechaton allows us to like really stretch ourselves creatively because we're not only like telling stories about people, but how they're reacting to giant trash monsters, and we get to kind of create what like those mechs end up looking like, and we get to feel like what's he punching now?
Yeah.
What's he punching now? Where are they going now? What's this monster look like? And it because of the all ages nature of it, we get to really kind of unlock that inner child that is so desperate to get out sometimes, and we get to really like have fun and let loose. We don't have to take ourselves so seriously, and I think that speaks to the reader when they absorb it into the eyeballs.
Mm-hmm.
I bet it. I mean, it is exciting. It's like you get a chance to create a different monster for each episode of the comic, and it kind of reminds me not just of like Power Rangers, but like going way far out there. I'm a butcher it. It's been so long since I said the name. Super Samurai Super Show or something like that, where they had to go into the computer.
No idea.
Oh, you are talking about the American Gridman adaptation. Cyber Samurai
with Tim Curry as
yes. SSSS Gridman is. Oh, I can't think of it. No, that show.
Where of course Tim Curry was the villain. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, not just like creating. We'll get into the monsters, but like what I love about like you were saying with the glove, whatever you punch, it'll turn into a mech.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why I had to have the thumbnail as the house, because it was amazing to have like literally this house turn into a mech, and you use the chimney to be a cannon blaster. Like I could like try as a both of you as writers, it's like let's try to find a way to make something badass, but it's like you would have so many ideas. It's like, oh, let's do a fire truck, let's do a hot dog stand. Like as writers, how do you really control yourself to not like be like two little kids, or should I say two fat kids fighting over chocolate cake and trying to make something like really far out and still try to keep it creative and not overflowing where it's like so many like lingering pages and just going far away from the story.
I think our backgrounds help a lot in that.
Yes, it also helps. Like we choose depending on what the mech is. It's like, oh, we can't have a chimney cannon on a hot dog stand. Like you gotta pick and choose. And well, I'm sorry to interrupt.
As far as the creation process, we kind of have our list of like we would like to see this in Mechaton at some point. We'd like to see a mech that made out of a house. We'd like to see a mech made out of a strip mall or whatever. And then we think about what the weaponry on that might look like and how how we might be able to play with it visually. And it's either creating sort of the story around that, or letting the story go where it needs to, and then looking around and being like, what would be cool to turn into a mech in this moment. So there's those two ways of looking at it, and both methods kind of worm their way into the story. I think in terms of like restraining ourselves and keeping it from just like turning into a Rule of Cool fest where it's just anime power-ups for hours and hours, and on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z and et cetera, et cetera. It's It has to do probably with our backgrounds a little bit.
Page count keeps us honest.
I come from a very literary background, so if a panel isn't like moving the plot forward or let like pushing a character trait or doing something useful, I'm very quick to cut it down and be like, nope, we gotta make this useful. So things tend to move along pretty quickly. And Dalton is excellent at, coming up with really, really cool visuals and sort of unique weaponry and showcasing that in the most cool and efficient way possible. So we're able to kind of get to the core of like, look at this awesome thing you came to see pretty quickly without sacrificing the character moments and the build up and the sort of story beats that make that moment dramatic.
Yeah, and make no mistake, as creative as we get on the page, it's Fernando Pinto who brings it to life. And these mechs would not be near as cool or inventive or expressive without Fernando. So props to him for having what I believe is the toughest job in comics right now.
Nando is the best.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, besides the artist, like, how much time do you really spend on it, Dalton, to come up with like at least the concept, or do you even draw out like a blueprint?
No, not at all. It's very it's very much stream of consciousness. All of
you
my
say
writing.
That. I think Mechaton goes through the most drafts of anything that we do.
Well, sure, but like in regards to the mech, at least, like when I write a script, it's very like, spewing out all the words, and so I'll be like, and then he punches the house, and then and then as I'm writing, it's like, and then there's a chimney cannon, and then there's like a doormat shield, or and then there's like I don't know, I'm just pulling things from the air and throwing them on the page, and then like during the second draft, Wells can be like, well, that doesn't work, or we can expand on this, or the mechs are very much just a spur of the moment kind of creation. I don't think about them too hard, because if I think about them too hard, then they get overcomplicated and then there's no fun. And we do, however, spend a lot of time thinking of their names and power levels because they have to be just the right amount of ridiculous to like.
We spend so much time. We spend so much time thinking of throwaway jokes. You have no idea. That is we know these characters and
Mhm.
this plot sort of inside and out at this point, and like we butt heads about it constantly, and we're sort of always trying to find the best way forward, which is not necessarily an easy thing. But by far, the most time that we spend on is just like, this is a dumb joke. I want to tell it. I want to find a way to put it in.
Well, yeah, it's like The House, a lifetime of home cooked meals.
Yeah.
Awesome, you know.
Yeah,
I think all cars are like the cop car. All cars are beautiful is still my favorite.
Yeah, we'll be reading a draft and get to the power level on a mech or a kaiju and be like, that's stupid. And then we replace it with something that's just even stupider. And then somehow we look at each other and go, yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Gary?
That's the one.
What up, Gary?
Hi, Gary.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's fun too. Like, you guys get to create this, and not just that, but while you're creating the kaiju, like you said, with the monsters now, like, do you come up with the idea of the monster first, so that way you could try to come up with the idea of how can this mech at this moment defeat something like this? Because one of the creatures, I think it was part of what, issue 5, was like what, a goo or a sand monster? I couldn't really tell what it was.
It's a cheese monster, yeah.
The cheese monster?
Yeah, the cheese monster was something that we were sort of building up to throughout the series. And if you're unfamiliar with the series, that might be a very strange sentence. But I promise it's a natural lead up from a cockroach to a dung beetle to a mosquito and then a cheese monster. Yeah, that was sort of something we knew that we were aiming toward from the beginning, and just needed to like sort of build up properly, and from there it was just sort of scaling up. Like, where do you start? In fact, I think in the first draft of Mechaton, like as a story, the first thing that we did was the house fight with Thoraxis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who's a dung beetle that
such great names. Good job.
I think in that first draft he had like a volcano on his back. Like,
it was lava powered. It was 10 years ago.
The power scaling was out of whack for sure. And then as we sort of morphed it into what it is now, we were like, we should start off a little softer and build up gradually. And so that's where the hot dog guy came from, is like, that felt like a natural progression of sort of a medium-sized thing that you can imagine, to then a house, to then like a whole series of buildings.
Yeah,
and there's some other stuff.
I mean, because the person is going to get used to how to control something this big, and of course, a person's not going to start off with like a house. They're going to start off with something small that they could have more control of.
And at least two of the mechs are just like jokes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. There's like 6 or 7 throughout the first arc, and at least 2 of them are jokes.
There was it also helps us with kaiju, where we kind of set ourselves up from issue 1, because we knew we wanted the first arc to be very it's building, but it has a strong kaiju focus, and the insects from issue number 1 turning into the kaiju that they fight, it just kind of, it gave us that roadmap that we could get to. Not to say that there aren't kaiju in later arcs, but I don't think we can say kaiju are the focus of the story at all times. So we're going to have them fight all sorts of crazy things, and these kaiju allowed us to kind of set the stage and have a baseline to go from, to where even though it's crazy to see a hot dog cart punch a giant cockroach, it's going to get even crazier from there.
Yeah. And with that and everything, you did issue 1 through 5, and now you're going to be working on more. Mm-hmm. With this series, how much do you really think that you could keep this going before you're like, okay, this is going to be the last issue of the series?
Right now we have planned out to issue 11.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
if we had the budget for like I don't know, a 90s anime, this could go on forever, man. There's definitely a version of Mechaton that goes on forever, but
I would love for this to turn into hack slash, and like we just keep doing it for the rest of our lives, like just some different version of it.
Yeah.
Bring the characters back in different contexts. That would be great. I don't know if it'll ever get to that way, but if we are able to tell the core story that we want to tell, I think we'll be really happy with it.
Yeah. We've got
And this
11,
might be a far-fetched, but did you ever guys
Yeah.
try to reach out to sell this to like an animation studio or something like that? Because
Do you have those contacts? I don't have those contacts.
No, I don't.
It is so. Mechaton is represented by Scout in the direct market, and they have been at least they've told us that they've shown it to like TV studios and movie scouts and stuff like that, which I'm sure they do with all their properties. But
Awesome.
So if anyone has any control over that, it is them at the moment.
Now with the Kickstarter and everything, you had all these tiers. Do you ever think about, because I see a lot of people doing it now where they'll have like trading cards, and I even have people on the show that done plushies, or people who had other like artists make custom pop figures. Have you guys ever thought about doing that with your characters? Because I think they would sell really good, especially with this type of content.
I'd love to do like an action figure or something. Trading cards is something that we've done in the past, and we may bring it back if there's a lot of interest in it.
We do have 2 trading cards, I believe.
Yeah, we have 2. We have 4 made. Yeah, we have 4 that are like done and that we can make. But 2 that we've actually put into print and that we've distributed before. And yeah, I think that a action figure based on like the mechs and the kaiju would be pretty sweet. So yeah, if anyone knows a economical way to do that, I'm all ears. But at the moment, our operation is pretty small, and we don't necessarily have the numbers to be able to push that. You can change.
Well, I know.
That. I was going to say,
I know.
You're listening to this.
I'll have to contact my friend, because what she did, she doesn't have like a big run. She just has like one vinyl character. So it's like, there's only one tier of this. So whoever buys it first gets the pop vinyl. I don't know if you thought about doing that.
Hyper exclusive.
Okay, we'll have like, yeah,
Hyper
exactly.
Yeah, I know. We'll definitely we're up for anything. Right now,
we're
trying to keep it simple.
A plush dihedapod would be adorable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So much.
Or I even see a lot of people. With you guys, it'll be a lot of work if you plan to do a lot of runs. But so many people are now getting more and more into 3D printing. Maybe even something like that down the future.
Yeah, maybe. I'm open to anything. At the end of the day, what I care about is like, getting the story out there and getting people interested in that. But if people are clamoring for a Mechaton Mark 1, hot dog brawler, punch 'em up action figure, who am I to deny them?
See, I keep wanting to make runs of Derek's t-shirts, but I still keep getting that's too cost prohibitive, Dalton. And I'm like,
also, we don't want a cease and desist letter.
What? Oh, come on. We have a tappy. That's not the same thing.
Yeah. Or even not just that. I mean, I could really see people wanting to buy like a life-size version of the glove. Why not?
Yeah. We've talked about that one.
We have talked about that before.
Yeah. So with the more on the kaiju, like, do you feel that after now you got the kaiju out of the way, that at one point you're going to focus more on like the actual aliens from space and stuff like that? Or
they're coming into it. They're coming.
Yeah,
they're coming hard. They're coming fast.
because
that's a big.
We all know that this weapon crashed down.
Yeah.
Down to Earth. I'm not going to go into spoilers, but like it crashed down to Earth, and whatever it touches, it'll turn into a mech. This technology is far out there, and it's something that humans didn't make. So of course it had to come from somewhere. And I just can't wait to see more and more of how like this story progress, not just in a fun way, but like actually the origins of how this glove came to be. That's going to be exciting to look at.
Yep, and that is coming in issue 6,
Mhm.
and is already being hinted at the end of issue 5. You get a glimpse, the first official glimpse of our alien Inza, who's a super fun character, and I cannot wait to explore more in the next arc.
Mhm. And with that exactly, like, what made you guys want to not like start off by giving like how we saw in the beginning with Superman, we first found out where he came from and everything. What made you just want to focus first on the glove crushing the earth instead of talking about like the origin of where it came place in the first place?
You gotta jump in. Like I think if you spend too long with exposition at the front, you get
Hmm.
Green Lantern from 2011. And it's just
Yeah,
like 15
yeah,
minutes of exposition, and it's like, okay, is the
exactly.
movie starting soon? Not to say, you know, Green Lantern gets a bad rap. I'm not going to drag it that hard, but that's for me, that's not exactly how I enjoy starting stories. You start stories fast, you hit the ground running, you introduce your characters, and you kind of reveal things as they go, preferably as your characters are also learning them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That way, you don't get you don't run into so much exposition dumps. Sometimes they're unavoidable, but starting your story with one is ill-advised, and I like the mystery that just the glove falling from space
Yeah.
provides. Like it's like you're wondering where the glove came from. That's awesome. We did our jobs.
Yeah.
And when you finally do get the origins of the glove, it's going to feel like this big payoff rather than like, oh, so Superman's from Krypton. Yeah, I knew that. Thank you.
That's
For me,
great.
it's even simpler. If like Inza, the alien, if she was the protagonist of this thing, it would make a lot of sense to start in space. It would also probably not make sense to go to Earth, unless, I mean, that would just feel very contrived. But like the heart of the story is you know, Derek and his relationship with his sister Leah and his friend Hex, and and how this glove changes their lives. And yeah, so to me, it didn't matter right away. Like, you know, what is the origin of this thing? Where did this come from? You know, I didn't
Figure
want
it
to
out
explain
later.
away the mystery. I didn't want to explain away the mystery, and I wanted to get to like what was important, which is, you know, to anyone who's read that first issue knows that like probably the most important scene in it is Derek being late on purpose to make sure that a family doesn't have to pay for a pizza, which is like such a small thing, but
Yeah.
it tells you everything about his character.
Mhm. And with that and everything, like we get to see how the mech evolves from like being a hot dog stand to something bigger, and like the
Mhm.
monsters being more powerful and like instead of a little creep threat. Like,
Mhm.
how much are you going to focus on like in the series? Like, are they going to be like, okay, this they're going to stay teenagers, or are they going to be growing up in a couple of years and become more like adults, and their personalities are going to change a little bit? Like, how far are you going to go with that?
Well,
They
one,
definitely grow. I don't
there,
know about grow up.
I think they grow, but I think the entire series takes place in the course of like, I don't know, 2-3 months.
Okay,
Maybe there
gotcha.
will be a time break.
There is.
You
Yeah,
know, we
I'm
haven't
pretty
really
sure there's a
talked
time
about.
jump at some point, but
Sure. Yeah, there will probably be some kind of a time jump, but like it's not a decade spanning epic by any
mhm.
means.
Mhm.
Um
Yeah,
Also of
because I know
note,
with some runs they want to have like with Spider-Man,
yeah,
some issues want to focus him mostly in high school. Some
Mhm.
issues
for sure.
focus him mostly being an adult. You know, you never know
Yeah.
where you want to take that
Yeah.
story.
I will say they are not teenagers actually. They are they
You're
are
20 something.
just very unemployed 20
Yeah,
somethings. Well,
right,
Derek
right,
was
yeah.
employed and then he got fired.
Well, they
Worthless
definitely still have
millennial
like,
trash.
well, yeah, I mean, they were in their 20s, but they still had that teenager attitude, you
Yeah,
know. They weren't like
they're
really
young at heart.
focused on, yeah, exactly. And I think
Yeah.
that's what draw in a lot of people, because even though they weren't young, they still had like that personality. Because if they were like in their
Mhm.
20s and they seem more adult, kids probably wouldn't want to like it as much, because again, it still has like
Yeah.
that Power Ranger vibe to it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
most
sort of,
definitely.
what we were going for. We didn't, because yeah, and I don't think we ever explicitly said how old they are in the book, but that
No.
was always what we were going for, was sort of like, they're adults, but they kind of feel like kids still. They're immature.
Yeah, when I write characters, mostly I just write like the people I hang out with. So like I don't know what that tells you about me and my friend groups, but like we're all pretty have a state of arrested development, I guess. So they're just the people. There's people, and they end up coming off very youthful, which I enjoy because youthful people tend to be more interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Now let's see. You guys have anything else to add to it?
Sorry, can you repeat that? You broke up there for a second.
Yeah. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? I was lagging out.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. So with this and everything, like, do you feel like you were saying with merch and stuff like that? Have you want to do t-shirts in the future with it again, or?
I mean, yeah, I would
Yeah.
love to add that stuff. It would just be a matter of
Mhm.
it would just be a matter of interest and getting people kind of engaged with it. I think that with this campaign, because the art is done, this is a trade issue. There's going to be a lot more room for like stretch goal related stuff and kind of testing the waters on, hey, do you guys want a t-shirt? Do you guys want new stickers or trading cards or some
Posters.
other cool thing that we're not thinking of? Posters, yeah. Is there some way that we can like, that you can get more into this world? We have a lot more flexibility to do that, so it'll depend on sort of the response that we get from our fans.
Yeah, I could definitely see trading cards, especially the more and more the series grows, and you just have different trading cards of the kaiju and the mechs.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And with that and everything, like, when you found the artist and everything, did you know that you wanted to have like these type of colors? Because again, besides just the art style, the colors very reminds me of the 90s.
Meg Casey does the colors. She is absolutely fantastic. And yes, that was sort of what we were aiming for, was flat and loud and bright and colorful, primary Saturday morning cartoon type colors. We very much wanted that vibe of just like, this is energetic and big and loud and something to complement Nando's very cartoony, over the top style. And same with the letters. Like Nathan does a good job matching that energy with his sound effects and just the way he does his word balloons and such.
Yeah, it's all very deliberate. Like the coloring and lettering of Frankenstein would not fit on Mechaton
at
all.
Not at all.
Like it would just, it'd be ugly. So you want to find the proper colors that will complement your artist, and the letters to make all of our silly words actually readable on a page. It's all one big machine that you have to kind of, I don't know, work and nurture and oil and the cogs and all the other metaphors that I'm losing. Like you just gotta just do it. I'm tired. I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's all right. And I know you guys probably talked about it on the last time you were here, but that was a while back. But exactly how did you come up with the concept? Like, yes, it has a lot of references from the 90s and stuff, but like what really made you like, oh wow, this glove is going to turn stuff into a mech? Like, how did you come up with that idea in the first place?
Logan Graham, a good friend of ours.
It was an afternoon of spitballing random ideas after binge watching anime. Like it's literally one of those things where you're shooting.
Wouldn't it be cool if like some crazy shit happened? Like,
and then that was the idea where we're like,
kept coming back to it. And was just
That
like,
would be cool.
really
And
cool.
I sat down and I wrote a script in like, I don't know, 2 days in like this fever dream. And then it just kind of stuck around. It never left. It never got much further than that first issue, but like it was always there. And a lot of our new issue number 1 actually kind of it still pulls pretty heavily from it. But yeah,
and we to say thank you for the inspiration, we put him into the comic as the waifu guy.
The guy who owns the waifu store is Logan.
I still don't know if he owns the waifu store or if he's just very excited about the waifu store.
At this point, it doesn't even matter. But I'm just happy he's here. It was a concept that seemed to have legs, and it just took like 10 years to figure out what to do with it.
Like with most ideas, it took entirely too long to actually execute.
Very cool. Well, it's been 41 minutes. You guys have anything to promote on? I mean, I think I asked pretty much everything I wanted to about the series and what you guys got going on for the upcoming future of Mechaton.
Yeah, we are launching the trade. So if this is your first time hearing about Mechaton, you're in luck. This is the perfect time to jump on. On Monday, February 5th, we're launching our pre-order campaign on Kickstarter, and you can pick up the trade as it is, all 5 of the books. You can also get a deluxe edition with a bunch of back matter in it, whole bunch of exclusive stuff and fun stuff that will never be available anywhere else except for this campaign. As well as, if you want to go
there,
crazy,
guys, jump on the bandwagon.
Well, I'm going to remove one of my fingers and put it into the... No, absolutely not. We're putting like page breakdowns and never before seen sample pages from a previous version of Mechaton.
So scripts that never saw the light of day.
Yeah, stuff that never saw the light of day. That is really cool and interesting, and that we know our fans are going to be interested in. So no matter what level you want to engage in, there's definitely going to be something for you. And again, this is the perfect time to jump on, whether you're a fan already or whether you've never heard of it.
Yeah, the complete first arc, all in one handy dandy volume.
108 pages, and we get to ship it out like immediately. Like as soon as it funds, we're going to print it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys have after that? You guys have anything else you want to promote down the line as well, since you're on here?
We have 4 to 5 Kickstarter campaigns going for the rest of the year. Dalton's very shy about it, but he is about to start releasing some fantasy, very short novelettes that are pretty dope. So keep an eye out for that. And you can find all of that on our personal websites, wellsthompson.com and daltonkshannon.com. And if you forget what those are, it's just ournames.com.
Yeah.
Well, let me know, Dalton, and I'll have you on so we could talk about that and you can promote
it. I actually just got the cover art in this week, so we can start the whole promotion cycle. It's coming in tentative date of March 22nd when it goes live on Amazon. So that's an exciting venture. It's prose, so no pictures. It could be a little dull, but it has ostriches, so I want to stick around for that.
You will have to concentrate. You'll have to imagine what the ostriches look like in your mind.
But that's a better looking ostrich.
Reading is what they call it.
They call it, yes.
Yeah. Hey, it's cool, It's not just about horror and fantasy comics on here. It's about everything.
Yeah, and Wells has a porno comic coming out. Which you don't want, you'll want that as a comic. You don't want to have to just imagine that like an old person. You can actually see
3D
it on
glasses.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you should include 3D glasses in the campaign.
Oh God, 3D.
Like the old school red and blue ones.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Portavision. It'll be great.
All right. Right. Just
Lord.
don't make
Oh,
a
but-
scratch and sniff.
No, don't do that one. But yeah, if you want to keep abreast of all of the details, the best way to do that is sign up for our newsletter, Comics, Cats, and Cocktails, which you can find the link to that on, I believe, Wells's socials or our websites. And that with the state of the internet, honestly, the newsletter is the best way to keep engaged with us on a monthly basis.
That is how you
and
always be able to
Yeah.
keep in touch with, or
Yeah,
to
and-
update you guys. Otherwise, you risk the Twitter algorithm, and who knows what's going on with that nowadays.
And
Yeah.
with the launch,
Yeah.
I
still
speaking
call it
for
Twitter, not
myself, speaking for myself, the newsletter is going to have like exclusive stuff in it in the coming months, once like the novelettes start being published, and I'm sure Wells is going to have some more stuff with his projects, stuff you won't be able to get anywhere else but the newsletter. So I'd highly encourage anyone interested to go check that out. Also, there's pictures of cats. So
yeah, every month,
Very
pictures of
cool.
cats.
Very cool. Well, it was awesome to have you both on again. Definitely can't wait to have you all both on in the future to talk more about Mechaton and all the other fun projects.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us. Always a blast.
Yeah, appreciate being on.
All right. Well, thank you, Gary, for watching. And all right, well,
Bye,
everybody
Gary.
have a good night, and you all have a good weekend.